In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your high pressure fuel pump on your Kia Soul. It's located on top of your engine. Just a heads up, a good thing to know is when you do pull the fuel pump fuse, you may trigger your engine light to go on. This is normal. If that happens to you, you're going to want to just delete the code, reset the engine light. You'll be all set to go. Remove your fuse box cover. Now we're going to go for this 15 amp fuse, and we're going to pull that out. That's the fuel pump fuse. So if you look at your cover, you're going to be right here, taking that one out. Now we're going to get in our vehicle. If it doesn't start, you're just going to crank it over a few times. If it does start and run for a little while, that's okay. Just let it run till it stops running. Now you want to crank it over a few times. Make sure the fuel's out. And now you want to disconnect your negative battery terminal. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to take off our negative battery terminal. Once it's loose, you just wiggle it off and set it off to the side, not touching any metal. Now we're going to take off our engine cover. You're just going to do that by pulling up, and it should come off. These 4 nubs, they stick into here. Set that off to the side. You're going to want to push it on this tab and pull this connector off. Set that aside. Just move some of these wires out of the way if needed. Now we're going to remove this plastic lock like this, pushing it forward, and we're going to disconnect this fuel line. Pull back on the line, slide a flathead screwdriver in, and just give it a little twist, work your way around. You can also use a trim tool if it fits around the line itself, because you've got to kind of push it into the line in order to disconnect it. So I'm going to use my trim tool, push that in, and disconnect that, set it off to the side. Using a 19mm wrench, we're going to crack this loose. Using a sledgehammer to tap it loose. You might want to put a rag over everything, pull it away, and that's out enough. So now we're going to take out these 2 bolts. In order to do that, you're going to do a half turn for each bolt until the whole thing comes out. You don't want to take one out and then the other one out because you're going to do some damage. So let's do it. So now we're going to unbolt it with a 10mm socket. We're going to crack it loose. So that's our half turn. And now we're going to go to the other bolt, same size. And now we're just going to continue half turns all the way through. So now at this point we can probably just use the socket and go back and forth. Feels mostly free and it's away from the lip of the fuel pump. So now it's safe to just take out the bolts and put your bolts to the side. And now we're going to pick this up and free it up. You're going to want to put a clean paper towel or something like that inside so no debris falls inside there. Clean up your surface as best as possible. Get the loose stuff out of there. Now we're going to install the new one, but before we do that, we have to make sure that our cam is turned in a way that is flat. I'm going to look inside and make sure that it's not on a high point. I set up a mirror for me to see and also for you guys to see this tappet thing going up and down. And we want it at the lowest point possible before installing our high pressure fuel pump. So I'm going to use my 22mm wrench and I'm going to turn the crank clockwise. So now it's going up. So we're going to let it go up until it wants to go down, which is right about there. So you want it lower than this lip, so make sure that it's at its lowest point. which it should look about that. Make sure you lubricate your O-ring with some engine oil. Take off these caps. And we're ready to install. Gently place it in. Make sure you line up this line. There is not a lot of wiggle room there, so do your best to line it up. You're going to notice that it's not seated all the way down. That's why we have to go half turn, half turn, half turn, half turn until it's all the way flush. So we're going to take our bolts and begin. Hand tighten at first. As far down as you can go with just your fingers. You can use a socket, just don't put a ratchet on it yet. All right, so now we're going to go back and forth half turns. Now I'm going to use my ratchet and continue going half turns till I'm flush. And then we're going to torque it. Once you're flush, we're going to torque this to 120 inch-pounds. Just going to check. All right, now we're going to connect our fuel lines. I'm going to start with this one first. Just thread that in. All right, we're going to torque this to 23 foot-pounds. I'm using a crow's foot and a torque wrench. If you don't have a crow's foot or a torque wrench that will fit, do your best, just make it pretty tight. So we're going to transfer this piece onto our new part. To do that, we're going to take a flathead screwdriver, and then I'm just going to pry it away, and it should come right off. And now I'm going to install it onto here. I'm going to install it the same way it was on, so this is going to be towards the back of the firewall. Has little grooves in this area where it locks into place. Now we're going to put this line on, and to do that you're just going to slide it over and push it on. Once you do that, you can snap this into place. Now we're going to connect our connector. Push it on, wait for it to click, make sure it's on there securely. And now we're going to put our fuse back in. Put your 15 amp fuse back in that space for the fuel pump. And we're going to put our cover back on. Connect your negative battery terminal. Make sure you press it all the way in. And tighten it up with a 10mm socket. Once it's snug, check to make sure it doesn't wiggle. Now we're going to get in the car and prime the fuel pump. So we're going to turn the key on, shut it off, on. We're going to do this several times. After you do that about 3 or 4 times, you're going to want to try to start the vehicle. And there you go. Now is a good time to check for leaks. If you're leak-free, you can shut the vehicle off and put your engine cover back on. Lining up the 4 grommets with the 4 nubs. Go for the 2 in the back, and the 2 in the front should line up. Push in. Start your vehicle, take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.